Episode 3.
Yes. Welcome to Everybody Does It.
Yep, I'm Jorge.
I'm Angetti. And we are here to normalize sex and our sexualities. And if you've been tuning in the last couple episodes, we explain that we are doing this because we want to bring awareness to the topic of sex and our sexuality and different ways to show up in your relationships and feeling more empowered to show up as your truest sexy selves and be able to kind of take back the conversation and show people like, hey, there's a different way to have relationships and to have good unconditional love.
Today we're going to talk about our experience with cheating and how we were able to kind of turn around our minds at the very beginning of trying to live this new lifestyle. And later on, we're going to continue to talk about our experiences having sex with people outside of our relationship, having group sex, having threesomes, swinging, going to swingers clubs,
Get hot,
having outdoor sex, and again, navigating a new world with new genders popping up, with new different styles of relationships that we've never heard of before. And just trying to be open-minded to everybody's way of living and how they choose to want to live their life and being accepting of that.
Yeah, because we're all multifaceted human beings with different types of sexual appetites and desires. And so we named our podcast YouTube channel Everybody Does It because in our world, everybody's doing it. We're having sex, people are thinking about having sex, people are thinking about being more adventurous, thinking about possibly like having an open relationship, but they don't know about it, so they're cheating instead, thinking about cheating. But we do realize that there is also a community of asexual people who maybe this doesn't like necessarily relate to you, but you guys are still invited to tune in and listen. And again, we just want to kind of open up the conversation in a safe space. And yeah, let's have some fun.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about how we first met.
Yay! I like our story.
Yeah, our story's cool.
Yeah, so before we get on to like, you know, the deep shit, like the cheating, yeah, I want to talk about like me and you and like, it's crazy. Okay, so for me, I believe that like I manifested Jorge. Like, because for a long time, I was praying, man. God, please send me a man. And I don't know, I was just dating all like the wrong people. And so by the time he rolled around, I was 30 years old, living on my own, sexy, 30 and thriving. And I just wanted to have fun. I actually had just realized, I think like a month before I met Jorge, that the guy that I was dating, like, just dating, wasn't anything serious, but still, we were having sex, so I was actually his side piece. He was cheating on his girlfriend of like 12 years and his baby mama with me. And it was so fucking embarrassing and humiliating. I mean, she found out about me, called me out, and we fucking confronted him to his face, like the two of us. And it was just like a really kind of like eye-opening, frustrating time in my life because I'm like, damn, man, like I really fucked with this guy, and he also was a fucking Aquarius. Go fucking figure. Yeah. So, and then it's like the whole thing was a lie. Like, you know what I mean? The whole time he had this whole fucking serious relationship with kids and like basically a wife. You know what I mean? Like it was this wife. 12 years, you're a wife. You have kids, that's a wife. And so I remember just thinking to myself, like, fuck this. Like, I'm just gonna, like, get money. Like, I'm just gonna be on my own type time, and I'm just gonna, like, have fun, and I don't need no man, and I don't want to invest anymore in a relationship because I've been divorced. If you guys go back to the first episode, you'll hear my story. So now it's like, fuck it, yeah. Like, I just don't even want to bother with men. So by the time Jorge rolled around, I was like, who the fuck is this? He is in my DMs, and I have never been the girl to like entertain men who slide in my DMs. But the way he came about was because he found my photo on Instagram, and I was posing outside of like this like abandoned building next to my favorite taco spot. And I don't know, I used the Reading, Pennsylvania geotag, which I've never used before, but I wanted to use it this time. And he was like looking for places to film a video in the geotag. And that's how you found my photo, and you commented. Not only did he like and comment, but he did slide in the DMs. But the way he approached it was like, I gotta hand it to you. It was very like super chill and like nonchalant, and you were like, yo, like, where did you take that photo? Because like, I'm looking for a place to shoot a music video. And I was like, oh yeah, it's this is the address, this is Mexican spot. And then of course, like, he continued to like ask me questions about myself, and I was like, oh, all right. So we're talking for like 3 weeks now. We're just on the phone, just like talking. And he did ask me out on a date, but you asked me to go to like the club, your favorite club, Reverb, you know, shout out to Reverb. And you were like, let's go to a paintball party. And I remember like thinking to myself, like, I don't know who this guy is. It seems like he's with like a lot of girls, because like in your Instagram at the time, you were like with always like posting pictures with like different fucking girls. So I'm like, I don't even know. Like, he's cool and all. Like, we were, you know, every day you'd send me the good morning text. And I told him, I'm like, don't send me no fucking good morning text. Like, stop with that shit. I don't need that. I'm telling you guys, I was a hard, cold stone bitch. At least I really wanted to be. But he kept pursuing. So we're like talking for like 3 weeks. And he did set up a date. And I literally canceled on him like the same day. And I lied, and I said that I wasn't feeling well, but I just wanted to go make plans with like somebody else that I was kind of talking to too, that I kind of was like, man, I'm already talking to this other guy, and I don't know about this Flow Television dude. So like, and he wants to take me paintballing to a paintball party. Like, no, I'm not about to buy like a whole nice white outfit just to get it fucked up at a club. Like, that wasn't like my idea of like a first date. So whatever. But then, you know, he still wanted to continue to talk to me even though I canceled on him. So I said to him, I'm like, all right, it's been like a month now. And like, you know, listen, I don't got really much time. Like, I'm a mom, I'm a businesswoman. Like, I got a lot going on. So you're either going to show up at my house by Sunday evening, show your face to me so I can finally see what you look like and see how tall you are. And pull up to my house by Sunday evening. Otherwise, I'm gonna just cut you off, like, because I don't want to do this pen pal thing anymore. And were you there?
I was there.
Yeah. He was there. He literally showed up at like Sunday, like around like 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock or something like that.
Yeah, last minute.
Yeah, mad last minute. In some other girl's car, by the way, but I didn't know that at the time. Anyways, but I remember seeing him and thinking to myself, like, okay. He was tall, you know, I like that. He was 6'1", so I was like, all right, that's cool. But I just didn't know. Like, I just like, you know, I had my guard up. But you were cool, and the conversation was good. And then after that, we were like, okay, do you want to hang out again? And I was like, I'm bored, so yeah, like, let's hang out again. You know, I really didn't like fuck with you so hard, like, at first. Like, it was very like, yeah, you're cool, but like, whatever, you know? So,
you know, when we got together, we just were really good friends. You know, we talked a lot. You know, we hung out a lot. I met your brother really early. I met a lot of your friends. We actually had some mutual friends. So, you know, you got their perspective of who I was also. And, you know, I've never been bad to anybody. I've always just been a good person. So, you know, I'm sure that reflected in their stories as well.
Yeah. And I do want to add, too, like, this is like a cute little part of our story, is that, like, Jorge and I did graduate from the same high school. We're 2 years apart, but we just didn't know that the other existed. And so I was a senior and he was a sophomore at the time. So, like, you know, back then, like, if you're a senior, you're not fucking with sophomores. So if I would have met him back then, I wouldn't even look like twice at him. I probably would have said hi and been cool, but kept it rolling because he's a sophomore. So I think it's funny how, like, and again, yeah, we did share similar friends, but we just kind of danced around each other for years, like 12 years, before actually, you know, you seeing my photo on Instagram and, you know, meeting in person. So I do think it's crazy how, like, the universe, like, you know,
waiting for the perfect time.
Yeah, because then I was married and you were a rapper. So, like, it just, like, wouldn't have worked out. So, yeah, it's really funny how, like, your perfect person is going to come in perfect divine timing. So I think he got me when he finally gave me some head. When he finally like gave me some head, I was like, oh no.
That was it?
That was
right from there.
No, I mean, it was like still a little bit more, but like it was when we started like having sex. I was like, damn, like, all right, he's cool, he's funny, like he smokes me up, like he's just always down to do something. He's always down to like hang out. He's always down to like talk and just, you know, I remember also in the beginning I asked you like just to play with him, to show him like my witchy side. I was like, hey, I want to do a photo shoot at the cemetery. And you were like, all right, bet, let's go. Like it was like nothing ever threw him off, you know what I mean? Like it was just really cool to just, I felt like I could really just let my guard down with him in that way and kind of just show him like myself. So I pushed the feelings away for a while, and then it was about like 6 or 7 months after like meeting that I got drunk one night and fucking margaritas. I decided to like show up to his hotel in Philadelphia where he was staying with his like rapper client at the time, and he wasn't there. And I remember like feeling like, where the fuck is he? He said he was gonna be at this hotel, you know what I mean? So whatever, I waited for him at the next door at the Applebee's and just got fucking so lit. So by the time he like, I finally saw him a few hours later. He's like, yo, I was at the studio, like, what's up? And I'm like, well, I'm here. I'm outside your fucking hotel. Like, and the fucking dude at the front desk didn't want to let me in, the fucking Indian guy. So like, and he was like, oh my God, what is happening? And I remember like standing outside and being like, okay, so like, to be honest with you, I think I'm in love with you. Like, I think I'm falling in love with you. I would have never said that if it wasn't for the tequila, by the way. So you were like, and I was like, you were just kept nodding your head and you were like, all right, cool. I was like, are you falling in love with me too? And you're like, yes, Shanjetti. You're like, yes, like, you know, I'm falling in love with you too. I was like, all right, bet, cool. So let's go upstairs and fuck. And then it was like after that, I was like, oh my God, no. So he asked me to move him down to New Orleans at the time. And we drove down there. And I was like, okay, if we survive this road trip, then like we're cool. Because I have this thing where like, at least with my ex, whenever we would go on a road trip, it was always a big fucking fight. Always. So I was just traumatized. I was like, oh my God, he's asking me to fucking go all the way down there with him and drive down there. But let's see. And it was so much fun. Like, we had such a good time. You even like fingered me, you know, down there, sucked your dick, like driving down there. It was like, oh my God, this is so fun. And then I got to see his life in New Orleans and to see how he moves, because Jorge moves in a very unique, special way. And I really got to see like his work ethic and how he moves and how people like respect him. And then just kind of thinking like, could I be in this world? Like, could I be a part of his world? And that was actually a conversation. I don't know if you remember this, but like when we were in New Orleans, you kind of laid up with me one night and you somehow, in the best way that you could with the wording and knowledge that you had at the time, you did try to paint an open relationship picture. Like, I'll never forget this. I ended up like crying and like leaving the room and crying and like going to the couch after the conversation because I didn't know what to think. But you had basically said to me, you're like, look, it could be so easy. Like, I will always be here for you. And, you know, I feel like you fuck with me too. But it's like, why not have other people around? Like, why not have like, I wish that sometimes I could have like other women around, and you could still have other men around too, or whoever you want around, but it would never change our dynamic. And I remember like listening to him and feeling fear and thinking like, wait, hold up. Like, what is he saying? Like, is he saying he wants me around and he wants other women around? Like, no. I was like, fuck that. No, you know, because again, like, this was the only thing that I knew. Like, to me, a loving relationship meant that you were going to be with just me and I was going to be with just you. So that was tough. So leaving New Orleans was a big wake-up call for me. I was it was like I was at a crossroads. It was either like, okay, now I know how he moves. I know how he wants to live his life. I know his desires now. Like, it was only now it's like in the back of my mind, like, okay, so like, yeah, he loves me and he fucks with me hard, but like he still wants like other women around. And now it's so tough to like wrap my head around. So I got back from New Orleans, and this is like, you know, now we're going into like 8 months of like knowing each other. And I remember like thinking to myself, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I don't know if I can be with this type of man. And you even like said to me too, after I left New Orleans, you were like, hey, I feel like I'm like really like thinking about you a lot, and I've been putting a lot of my focus on you a lot, and I feel like I need a break. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
You like asked me like a break, like after I got back from New Orleans.
Yeah.
That break lasted like a fucking week before he texted me. But I was like, all right, cool. Like, if you need a break, like, that's cool, because you know what? I think I need one too, because I kind of gotta think, like, do I want to do this? Like, can I have this type of relationship? So we kind of went on that little break then. So we didn't speak for like a couple weeks. And then you came home and you like try to like, basically, you know, you were messaging me and texting me and be like, hey, like, I really want to see you. Like, can we talk? Like, you know. And I was like, fine. Like, I don't know if it's like the Aquarius in me, but I'm always willing to like hear people out. Like, I'm always willing to like, all right, let's hear what you got to say. So I remember like we sat and talked in my car for like 5 hours, and you were like, I do love you very much. And I remember like thinking to myself, like, I do love you very much too. Like, I really do care about you so much, and I could really see myself being happy with you, but like, not like this. So that was when I kind of gave him an ultimatum. I was like, look, you're gonna drop the bitches and the hoes, and you're gonna be about me, otherwise I'm gonna drop you. And you were like, okay. Yeah, I know you weren't like, you kind of saw it coming, you know. Mm-hmm. You knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And then what happens? You go to jail the next day, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So he goes to jail literally the next fucking day. And over some dumb shit, by the way. And I remember now thinking like, okay, this is a sign from the universe. Like, what is this? Like, this is crazy. So you were in jail for what, like 2 weeks?
Something like that.
Yeah. So like, I was low-key happy that he was in jail. Mm-hmm. I felt like he deserved it. You know, I was like, that's definitely his karma. I hope that he like can really like sit in there and think about what he did. And but I missed him. So what did I do? I was like, well, I've never visited anybody in jail before. I was like, I've never done that. So fuck it. Let me go buy an outfit and pull up to jail and see how he's doing. So I showed up and I saw him in jail, and it was crazy. Like, you know, because it was the screen and the phone, just like in the movies. I was like, wow, like, it could really be like this. Mm-hmm. And mind you, prior to like a week before this happened, I wrote down I did like a ritual, I did like a new moon ritual where I wrote down that like you were gonna get out of jail by the end of the month. Mm-hmm. Like, I wrote it down, and I did this ritual that was like, you know, if he's meant for me, then make it be, and if he's not, then let him go. Like, and you know what I mean? Like, so I go to jail. We're talking, and he's like, it's so funny that you're here, and I'm out of all days. And I was like, why? And it was because you were getting released. You had just gotten the message that you were getting released that same day, like an hour after I was like supposed to be there, like that I got there. Mm-hmm. And I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, that shit is crazy. Like, what? You're getting out of jail? And then, yeah, after you got out of jail, we got together and spent the night together, and that's kind of like when, you know, you were like, I want to be with you, and we made things like official.
Yeah, and then when we first got together, everything was really good. I mean, we're traveling a lot. We were working together a lot. You know, we're just trying to keep figuring out ways to make money. Our families were getting along. Mm-hmm. Everything was really good, you know?
It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. And then you jumped into stepdad, too, which was really, really cool to watch.
Like, your daughter is amazing. Like, everything just meshed really well. Like, it was just perfect.
She loves you.
You know? So. The only thing is just when I kept on bringing up, like, how I envisioned how our relationship could be and just bringing in other females, I was always getting a negative response.
Right.
So it came to the point on my birthday, over last year, or 2 years ago, right? Yeah, 2 years ago, for my birthday, I brought it up again, and I was like, hey, like, it would be really cool, like, if we could have other girls here, because we had, like, this dope-ass Airbnb, like, we had food pong tables, pool tables.
Couches, everywhere. It was huge. It was so crazy.
It was so cool. Like, it would have been a dope party spot. So I was like, yo, imagine if we could
But it
have
was
some other
COVID,
girls
too.
here.
It was COVID, too. It was in 2020.
Yeah, but everybody was still cool. The people were still trying to party.
Like,
but yeah, and we were also on LSD, and we were drinking. So, there was a lot of...
It was a crazy night.
Yeah, it was a crazy night. But she just yelled at me, and she was like, you can never say anything like that about wanting more women ever again. I can't take that, and I felt really bad, because I kept hurting her feelings. I kept making our relationship more difficult than it had to be by bringing it up. So I was just like, you know what? If that's really not what she wants, then I won't bring it up anymore. And I felt like it wasn't a safe place anymore for me to talk about the things that I really wanted, and to be honest with her about my urges and desires.
And I felt bad, like the next day, like thinking about it, like I felt really bad, like how I yelled at you and like how I just like shut you down. Like I didn't even want to hear it. Like I didn't even I was like, no, it was a lot of my own insecurities. It was a lot of like my own fears and my own like self-doubt. Because I just felt like you telling me that you wanted like other girls there felt like I wasn't enough. Like I just couldn't stop thinking like, damn, like I'm just not enough. And that's where like the anger came out.
Mm-hmm. and that's totally understandable. So
you tried. You continued to try.
I did try. I tried to have a monogamous relationship, and I just tried to love you the way that you wanted to.
Yeah.
And
I always did feel like something was missing though. Like I always felt like after that, I felt like a part of you like kind of shut down.
Yeah. So there was another relationship that I had in the midst of all of this actually happening. And it was a toxic relationship that I had with this person where we were always cheating on our partners with each other. Like if I would be in a relationship, I would cheat on them with her, and if she was in a relationship, she would cheat on her partner with me. And this went on for 5-6 years, even before me and Jetty had met.
And you guys like were never together. Y'all were just like each other's side pieces.
Right.
Yeah.
So it happened again. And
I found out about it.
And then Jetty found out about it.
Yeah.
And she confronted me, and I really did not want to tell her the truth. And eventually, she was smart enough to do some real tricky reverse psychology on me to get me to come clean about what happened. And
I hate that, like, it amounted to that.
Yeah.
Like, I kept asking him, like, did you have sex with her? And it was so funny because he kept saying, like, first it was like, no, we only had a conversation and we hugged. And every time I was like, bullshit. So then it was like, okay, we did lay in bed next to each other, but then I slept on the floor and she slept on the bed. I was like, bullshit. Then it was like, okay, no, we did kiss, but that was it. And I'm like, bullshit. Mm-hmm. Like, it was just like, bullshit. Like, stop.
Right. So, and that comes from, me really caring about this person and not wanting to hurt their feelings because, again, I had came clean to her about what I was thinking and what my urges were. And if she was to respond that negatively about what I wanted to do, I could only imagine about how she would react when I actually did something. So it was a very hard thing for me to actually come clean to her and tell her what I did because she would be heartbroken, and
you were scared.
And that's not what I wanted. I didn't want to lose this person. I really cared about her, so I was very scared. But eventually, we talked about it. She knew everything, and she didn't talk to me for like 2 days. She left, and
Which really isn't a long time.
Yeah, it was like 2 days where she was just completely gone. And on the third day, when she had came back home, she turned on the computer and went on YouTube, and she was like, "Look, I want you to watch some stuff with me." Mm-hmm. And this is actually the thing that turned our whole relationship around. And if she wouldn't have taken the initiative to do this, we wouldn't be together right now, probably. We wouldn't be striving the way that we are right now if she didn't try to find another way to have a relationship. And I'm so grateful, that she did that, because we learned a lot. We started watching a lot of videos on other people that were in non-monogamous relationships, 2 men and 1 woman, 5 men and 2 women, 3 women and 1 man.
We learned about
like
polyamory.
so many different types of relationships, all of these different ways to just be able to love one another. And it was very gratifying, very, it opened our minds a lot to just different ways to look at each other and other people.
I want to go back to the cheating because this is so much like in there. So like, I read tarots. So before I found out that he had cheated, before he actually told me that he had cheated, because my tarot cards don't lie. So like and this was in that time that I didn't talk to you in those 2-3 days. So I was like, I already know he cheated. So now it kind of came up to like knowing the truth in a way set me free, because now it's like, okay, so he cheated, now what? Like now I felt like I had to kind of take back control a little bit of the situation, because the way I saw it was when I finally spoke to him and I saw like the regret and the sadness and confusion in his eye, and I asked him like, do you want to be with her? Like, are you gonna leave me? Like, do you want to be with her? Like, what's going on? And he was like, no, like I never not want to be with you. Like, I don't ever want to leave you. Like, you're the one. So I was like, okay. So you're telling me like you love me, but you care about her too, because she's been in your life for so long, but you don't want to leave me. And now I also know, because of the way we started our relationship and because of what you have told me in the past, I knew that like it's probably gonna happen again. And also another thing with me was like I had opportunities also to cheat on Jorge. Like I was also like, talking to other people and like entertaining, other people, because he's gone a lot. Like he travels a lot for work. And so he's not always around to like, and I don't always want to put all of like my attention on him, So I came clean about that too. I said to him, I was like, listen, like I probably would have cheated on you sooner or later. I just didn't want to do it because like, again, in our society, men get forgiven for cheating so much more than when women get forgiven for cheating. Like it's really tough. Like if you're a woman and you cheat on your man, like you're probably gonna be out on the streets. Like if you're a man and like you cheat on a woman, like you might be out on the streets for like a day or two, maybe like a week, but eventually the bitch is gonna take you back. And like I know I'm gonna piss a lot of women right now, but it's like a lot of you take back men that have cheated on you, you just don't talk about it. So that was like what I felt like I had to do. I was like, I have 2 options here. I could either kick him to the curb, never speak to him again, never see him again, completely like cut him out of my life because of my pain and my hurt and my ego. Like let's talk about the ego. Like it kills the ego learning that like you've been cheated on. Or I could find another way. Like I could fix this situation, because at the end of the day, it was like, yeah, he made this mistake, but like he's still a good fucking man. Like you were still so good to me. Like, and I loved our relationship. And like you never like neglected me. You never like ever made me feel like somebody else is more important than me. Like you always put me and Selena like as a priority, outside of your career and what you do. So it really kind of came down to like me learning, okay, like now what? Like what am I gonna do with this information? Because now I know he's a cheater. I've been a cheater too, and I could have easily cheated as well. I was tempted to cheat. So now what? So that's when I started looking into like, I just, open relationships. What is that like? Like, what do you do after you cheat? Like what is like, because I had heard about it before. So I started to dig deep and I was like, I think this is what we really need to look at. Like, I really think that this could be the thing that could like save our relationship.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I believe that it did.
It definitely did.
So we actually had a conversation with the person that I cheated on and Jetty with, and we had brought her to our apartment. Mm-hmm. And it was not easy. We talked about it a lot first. We spoke on the phone first, and everybody had their apologies out. And what we were looking for was to eliminate the toxicity that was lingering in our lives. Yeah. And that relationship that I had was a big one. It was a huge source of negativity and toxicity. So we just wanted to bring clarity to what it was that we were dealing with, you know, with each other, be very open and vulnerable, and try to get past it and just, you know, let each other know, like, look, what we have been doing for a long time is bad. We have been hurting people, especially when they find out. Some of the people that they might have not known, you know, if they were to ever find out, that would be very hurtful, you know? And we don't want to continue to hurt people's feelings. We want to continue to grow as better individuals and continue to spread love. And that's what we wanted to do. So we brought this person in to try to eliminate all of the toxic energy. And it definitely was very healing.
That was tough.
It was definitely very healing for us, you know, to be able to get all of that out.
It was healing, but it was very tough.
Yeah,
I remember like just sitting in the living room and just like thinking like, I don't think I can do this. Like I remember just like my anxiety, and I already have anxiety, and my anxiety was like at an all-time high because I was like, what am I doing? Like, what are we doing? Like, this isn't normal. Like, nobody does that. And when I would tell my friends, they would be like, wait, you're gonna bring her around? Or like, wait, like you're like, okay, it's one thing to forgive him, right? It's another thing to like try to like bring the other third party into your relationship and like open that dynamic up.
Right. Yeah, it was very challenging to do that, you know? But in order to grow, you have to put yourself through very challenging situations like that.
Absolutely.
To build a higher consciousness and to open your mind on the highest level and to just understand people, you know? Because if you just want to continue to hide from you know, those hard faces that you might have to look into their eyes one day, like, you know, you're never going to grow as a person. You're never going to become stronger as an individual. So facing those very difficult challenges are very important to grow, because I feel so much stronger after, you know, overcoming a lot of these obstacles that we have faced having an open relationship. And that was just the very beginning. The person is not in our lives anymore, you know. We tried to open lines of communication and openness, and I feel like they did not have the proper understanding. Because she didn't want to, you know, have a friendship with Njetti in any kind of way, and she was kind of showing how she was trying to keep us at a distance. And
I really did genuinely want to like be accepting of like what they had going on, but it was just really tough because I didn't really feel like she was like getting it or felt any like remorse, or just like there was just things that I noticed that I was like, and I'm just now at the point, I'm 33 years old. Now, usually when I have like a feeling about somebody, I'm usually right. And if your partner trusts you, then it's like, okay, I trust your judgment, because it's like, hey, like I really did try. Like Lord knows I tried. Like I prayed about it, cried about it, meditated on it. And at the end of the day, I just always felt like, no, like I just can't. Like I can't continue to have this newfound relationship with you, with this person still bringing some level of toxicity and like just making me feel like very anxious. So, but after that, I was like, okay, once we got rid of that, it was able to like, okay, now let's like really fucking do this. Like now let's really like jump in, you know? But again, when it came to the cheating, that was one of like the hardest things that I've had to deal with like in my love life. I honestly truly believe that cheating actually hurt me more than my divorce, just because like with my divorce, it was my decision, and it was like something that I had made peace with, like, you know what I mean, like a year before. Whereas like with cheating, it was like, even though like I wasn't surprised that you did it, because I always had this feeling that you would, it was still kind of like a punch in the face, because it's like, damn, fuck, like, you know what I mean? It's like this manifested, this came into fruition, and I felt like it would have, and it did, and now I'm like sitting with it. So we actually went to therapy like a few times too. I like went to therapy, and I brought him like a couple times to the therapist. I do highly like suggest like going to therapy, either like as individuals or as a couple, because like it's just such a slippery slope to navigate, and there's so many feelings that like come up. So don't get discouraged. And I also do want to add that like cheating is not the green light to like have a relationship. I think that some people, even if they're cheating, should not be practicing polyamory, because I think some people just cheat for the thrill of it, and because they would feel more secure doing it behind their partner's back than like actually like coming into the light and being honest. So I don't want to say like, oh, because he cheated, we opened our relationship. I really do believe that even if you hadn't cheated, I think eventually we would have found this. I just think that cheating was like the slingshot that like led us here.
Because we did have conversations beforehand.
Yeah.
Even though they weren't the most positive and most open, we did have the conversation and we continued to have it. You know, that was, like you said, that was just definitely the catapult, you know, that led us into that direction. But definitely, you know, we talk about it all the time. We don't even like to, you know, have those type of experiences if we, as a relationship, are not feeling good. Like, we have to be at a positive vibration to have those experiences with other people and for us to feel okay, you know, when we are having those experiences. So definitely focus on your own relationship first. Make sure that your partner's okay. Make sure that you guys have open communication. Make sure that everybody is consensual of what is actually going on, so that way you guys can make sure that it's as ethical as possible and you're not hurting anybody's feelings and you're not lying to anybody and everything is completely on the table and understood.
So because what we practice is ethical non-monogamy, and that means like being completely honest, because like I'm involved in Facebook groups with polyamorous, you know, people in open relationships, marriages, and there's cheating that takes place even in this like lifestyle. There's people who will still like go out there and be like, oh no, like we're actually divorced. Instead of just telling the person, no, I'm in an open marriage. Like people will go out and still lie. So
and just to be clear, that is not an example of ethical non-monogamy. You know, so there's definitely a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things, and we're going to continue to talk about it. So if you have heard anything on this episode that you can relate to in any kind of way, if you have cheated on somebody in the past, if you have been a victim of cheating in the past, reach out to us on Instagram, tell us your stories, or you can comment down below and let all the listeners know that, you know, we're not alone, you know, and we're in this together. And again, we want to make this a regular conversation for us to be able to have. We're making this a safe space so everybody can feel comfortable with themselves and their sexuality and their desires, because you know,
it's a big world.
It's a big world,
and it's a lot of people, and we're humans. Like at the end of the day, you know, people make mistakes. It's crazy to me how like looking back, I used to be the type of person where I was like, okay, well if somebody cheated, like that's it, like fuck that, like, you know, I'm done. And a lot of people feel like that, and it's kind of like people will also say that sex isn't the most important thing in a relationship, but it's like the moment that your partner chooses to have sex and share their genitals with somebody else's, all of a sudden sex is the most important thing because of that one thing that they decided to do, that one experience. You're gonna just goodbye, you know what I mean, completely cancel them. So that was another thing. It's like, okay, no, I don't want to give up on the whole man and the whole relationship over this one mistake, when he has shown me for the last, like at the time it was like 2 years, that he is at the end of the day like a really good, caring, kind man. Like I know your heart, you know what I mean? I know that your intentions were never truly to like hurt me. It's just also realizing that like that's how you are as a man. That's what you've been doing. That was in your program. That's your relationship pattern. You are gonna, whether it was me or somebody else, you were gonna cheat.
Right.
That's what you did. That's the only thing you knew, you know? And for me too, I always felt like I could be monogamous and hold it off a little longer, but like I would find myself in situations sometimes I'm like, fuck, I think I want to cheat. You know what I mean? Like with my ex-boyfriend, one of the reasons why him and I broke up was because like I was going to cheat on him. So yeah, you know, I'm not that innocent either.
Yeah, but you know, we're going to talk about all of our experiences.
Yeah, no, we have so much to talk about
on the next coming up episode. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Next one is going to be juicy, and we hope to see you there.
Yes, and don't forget to hit the like button, hit the follow button, and subscribe. Share it with your friends, and don't be shy. Reach out to us. All right, bye.